Of all the places your mind could be right now, you're here. Of all the images the algorithm could have shown you, this one appeared. But let me tell you a secret the alchemist knows. The algorithm isn't random, it's a mirror. And when a mirror appears at just the right moment, the soul doesn't scroll past it. It stares, it pauses, it remembers. This video isn't a coincidence, it's a frequency match. It appeared not because you were looking for it, but because something in you was finally ready to remember. That's how the first test works. It doesn't ask a question, it simply waits and watches who feels the pull. Most scroll by. Most never know what they missed. But not you. You stopped. You listened. And that tiny pause, that stillness, that was your soul whispering, "This is the moment we spoke of before you forgot." Now something ancient begins to stir. Not in the mind, in the breath. Not in thoughts, in knowing. Because this isn't a video, it's a doorway. And the alchemist who guards it doesn't ask for credentials, only presence. So if this really found you, not by chance but by design, are you ready to step through? The journey doesn't begin with certainty. It begins with disturbance, a small crack in the mirror of your life, where something no longer fits. That crack is the first seal. And when it breaks, the illusion of randomness begins to fall. For most, reality is a river they float down unconsciously. They don't question where it flows. They call everything fate or chaos. But the alchemist knows, behind the currents, there is a code. You didn't arrive here by chance. You were pulled by a resonance, a frequency your mind couldn't explain, but your soul remembered. The seal breaks the moment you pause long enough to feel it, to sense that something, maybe everything, has been whispering your name. Not loudly, but through moments like this. The moment your eyes rested here, when you didn't scroll away. That was the true beginning. Because only the rarest of souls look twice at what others miss. Only those whose inner gold has begun to warm can feel the invitation behind the ordinary. Most skip the moment that would have changed them. But you didn't. So now that the mirror cracked, what is it finally showing you?
Once the illusion shatters, the fire begins. Not outside, but within. You start to feel what you've been avoiding. The weight in your chest, the quiet ache, the truth you buried under busy days and loud thoughts. This is the second fire. And it doesn't burn to punish. It burns to purify. The alchemist, the fire, he sits with it because he knows what you refuse to feel becomes what you rules you. When you finally stay in the discomfort without reaching for distraction, something ancient happens. The lead begins to melt. That lead is your past, your programming, your stories, the ones that told you to be small, to be safe, to wait. but the flame reveals something beneath it all. An ember still glowing. That ember is your original self, not the version that plays roles, the one that remembers truth. Most people never meet this fire. They flinch, they run, they numb. But those who stay, even for a moment, discover what the alchemist discovered. Pain isn't the enemy. It's the alchemical flame that makes gold possible. And now that you've felt the heat, will you stay long enough to transform?
Every seeker eventually finds a gate, but not a gate of stone or light, a gate made of their own shadow. It shows up when the fire has softened your edges, when old stories begin to melt and your real face starts to emerge. That's when the shadow appears, not to block you, but to test you. The alchemist calls this gate the mirror of forgotten faces. It reflects every part of you that was hidden, denied, or silenced. Not to harm, but to ask a single question. Will you love what you were taught to fear in yourself? Most people turn back here. They see their wounds and think they failed. But the shadow isn't failure. It's memory. It carries the keys to your deepest power. The creativity, vision, and intensity you once buried to be accepted. When you step through the shadow, you don't lose yourself. You reclaim the pieces scattered across years of pretending. The alchemist knows there is no light without descent. Gold is not found in the sky. It is pulled from the depths. And you are already holding the rope. So when you saw your shadow, did you turn away, or did you finally reach for its hand?
There is a moment when the path splits, not outside but within. You feel it not in your feet but in your breath, in the stillness that follows the shadow, a quiet space that asks, will you return or will you rise? This is the fourth crossroad, and what makes it sacred is how small it seems. It's not a dramatic decision, it's a whisper, a pause, a single inhale before the next move. Most don't notice it. They step back into the old without realizing they've chosen it. But the alchemist sees this crossroad for what it is, a frequency split, the version of you that stays in the known timeline, and the one who dares to create a new one. You don't need to know the full map. You only need to take the step that breaks the pattern. That step can be anything. Turning off the noise, writing the truth, choosing presence over distraction, opening the next door. The soul doesn't require certainty, only sincerity. Because once you choose, the field rearranges, and suddenly the path you couldn't see reveals itself. So in this invisible crossroad, which timeline are you walking now?
Beneath the surface of your being, a current has been waiting. It is older than your name, older than your fears, and it flows through every seeker who dares to remember. The alchemist calls it the golden current. It doesn't rise through effort, it rises through alignment. It's what you feel when something clicks deep in your body, when your breath slows, your chest warms, and your eyes suddenly see more clearly. That's not inspiration, it's activation. The golden current moves when you stop resisting your essence, when you stop trying to become and start remembering that you already are. It circulates through your subtle body like a river of firelight. Not the fire that destroys, but the fire that transforms. It takes the metal of your pain and spins it into light. But here's the truth most forget. You can't wait for the current to find you. You must open the channel by breathing deeper, by feeling more, by choosing the unknown. The golden current answers the ones who are ready to carry its charge, not the perfect, the willing. And now that the current has awakened, will you let it carry you?
There is a moment, so quiet, most miss it, when you take a breath and something changes. It's not physical, it's energetic. This is the sixth breath, the breath that shifts timelines. Most people breathe to survive, but the alchemist breathes to create. He understands every breath taken in presence is a transmission. Your breath is not just air. It is a message, a signal that tells the field who you are becoming. When you breathe with awareness, your electromagnetic field changes. Your body calibrates to a higher template, and the reality around you begins to bend. Not because of magic, but because the universe responds to coherence, and coherence begins with breath. That's why you felt something stir while listening, why your breath deepened without thinking, why you felt strangely seen even in silence. Because the words aren't activating you, you are activating you, and the breath was your key. Most wait for signs to know they're ready, but you've already been breathing them. Now all that's left is to follow the rhythm, because the soul breathes in synchronicities, and you've already inhaled the next one. So, if this breath changed your field, what else is already shifting around you?
There's a voice you've heard your entire life. It speaks in your tone. It uses your memories. It claims to be you, but it isn't. The alchemist calls this the seventh mirror, a voice formed not from truth, but from protection. It developed through fear. It learned from failure. It speaks in patterns, not purpose. It says, be realistic. Not now. You're not ready. But here's the secret. That voice isn't your soul. It's your survival system. Its job is not to help you grow. It's to keep you safe. And in trying to protect you, it limits you. You've listened for so long, you've mistaken it for wisdom. But now, something deeper is awakening. It's softer, quieter, but stronger. It says, remember who you are. It's time. The voice of your soul doesn't argue. It doesn't scream. It knows. And when the seventh mirror appears, you're given a choice. Echo the old voice of limitation or respond to the inner tone that feels like light. The alchemist teaches that this is the true separation point. Those who follow the loudest voice remain asleep. Those who follow the truest one awaken. And now that you've heard both, Which voice will guide your next step? Fear doesn't always show up as panic. Sometimes it shows up wearing a suit, speaking calmly, calling itself logic, responsibility, or being realistic. This is the eighth flame, the place where fear shapeshifts to remain undetected. You feel inspired, you consider the step, you almost act, and then it whispers, "Wait a little longer, figure it out first. Maybe it's not the right time." But what it really means is, stay where it's safe, don't change, don't grow. The alchemist warns, this flame is subtle, and it burns slowly. It won't scorch you, it will seduce you. It will keep you planning forever, dreaming without daring, waiting for perfect timing, which never comes. Those who master this flame don't eliminate fear, they expose it. They learn its voice. They name it gently, and then they walk forward anyway. Because courage doesn't feel like strength, it feels like trembling with movement. Your soul isn't asking for confidence, it's asking for action. Because confidence isn't what creates progress. Progress is what creates confidence. And the fire you've been avoiding, it's the same one that forges your crown. So if fear is wearing a mask, will you recognize it before it speaks again? There is a lie that kept more souls asleep than any other. The lie is called later. The alchemist calls this space the ninth hour, the moment that's always close but never arrives. You say, when I'm ready, when I have more time, when I feel more confident. But the truth is, later is a spell, a soft delay that stretches into years, a fog that turns days into decades. The ninth hour is not real, it's a ghost. And the only moment that holds power is now. Right now, you can choose. Right now, you can act. Right now, you can break the pattern that's been repeating lifetimes. But if you wait, if you breathe in the fog too long, the door will close. Not because the universe punishes you, but because momentum creates miracles, not intention. The alchemist never waits for permission. He knows that beginning is what opens the portal. Those who walk with magic are the ones who act when the world expects silence. Those who change their lives are the ones who realize the moment is never perfect, but it is here, and that is enough. So, how many things have you postponed into a moment that doesn't exist? Most people spend their lives searching for the right moment, the right mentor, the right version of themselves. They believe transformation comes later, after they become more, know more, or do more. But the alchemist teaches you cannot become what you already are. The 10th chamber is not a destination, it's a revelation. You are already carrying the key. Every tool you seek is within you. The discipline, the insight, the vision, the gold. They are dormant, not missing. You don't need more. You need to remember. The path was never about gaining power. It was about removing what hides it. Old voices, old wounds, old definitions of what is possible. Inside this chamber, the seeker awakens to one truth. I am not broken. I was only buried. You are not waiting for transformation. You are the one who triggers it. Right here, right now, with breath, with choice, with presence. The alchemist knows the moment you stop searching outside, the current within you begins to rise. And suddenly, the seeker becomes the flame. So now that you see you were always whole, what will you finally allow yourself to create?
At the final threshold, words begin to dissolve, because what's left is not theory, it is remembrance. The 12th seal doesn't teach, it awakens, and in that awakening, you recall something you didn't know you forgot. I chose to come here, not just to survive, not just to awaken, but to create. The alchemist calls this the return to the beginning, when the soul remembers its oath. You weren't born to follow, you weren't born to repeat, you came to transmute, to leave the world brighter than you found it, to alchemize the pain you inherited into a flame only you can hold. You are not here to escape reality, you are here to recode it. And the proof is that you're still here, breathing these words like a forgotten spell. Feel this. There was a version of you who never stopped believing. They may have been silenced, but not extinguished. They are rising again. And now that the final seal is open, you are no longer who you were. You are becoming who you remembered. So now that the oath has been reawakened, will you keep walking the path of gold?
If you've come this far, it wasn't curiosity that kept you. It was alignment. Because no one listens to a message like this by accident. The soul brings you to it when it's ready to remember. And if something inside you stirred, if the breath shift, the chest open, the silence grow louder, then the path is already unfolding. This was never just a video. It was an encounter, a mirror, a message from the part of you that never forgot. The alchemist is not a person. He is a presence within you, the one who watches quietly until you begin to move. And now that you've crossed the 12 seals, the only step that remains is the one you take next. Before you go, leave a trace of your remembrance. In the comments below, share. What was the moment that felt written just for you? Your insight might become the spark for someone else's awakening. Because when we speak truth, we become mirrors for those still wandering in fog. And when we remember together, we accelerate the journey for all. If this message was part of your path, subscribe to TheoQuest and walk with us through the next door. The alchemist is already waiting, and the next seal opens soon. You are the one you've been waiting for, and the gold was always inside you.